Hello and welcome. Today I'm excited to share a story about courage, hope, and the amazing strength of the human spirit. It's about falling down hard, losing everything, but finding the will to rise again, stronger than ever before. No matter what challenges you're facing, this story will remind you that every ending is a new beginning. So sit back, open your heart, and get ready to be inspired by a journey from ashes to ambition. Sometimes life can bring us very hard times. We may lose everything we have worked for, our job, our home, or even our hope. But true strength is shown when we do not give up. This is a story about a person who lost everything but found the courage to start again. No matter how deep the fall was, they rose up stronger and built a new life from nothing. 1. Ashes to ambition. Once in a small town, there lived a man named Arjun. He had a small business, a loving family, and a peaceful life. People respected him because he was honest and kind. But life does not always go as planned. One year, a fire broke out in the local market. Arjun's shop burned to the ground. He lost everything, his income, his savings, and all his hard work. On the same day, his father was taken to the hospital. Medical bills, debts, and stress soon followed. Within weeks, Arjun went from a respected businessman to a broken man with no money, no job, and no hope. For days, Arjun sat in silence. Many people told him to give up and move to another city. But deep inside, Arjun still had a small spark, a belief that he could rise again. One night he looked at his burnt shop and said to himself, "These ashes will not be my end. They will be the beginning." Arjun started small. He borrowed a little money from a friend and set up a tea stall near the same market where his shop once stood. People were surprised to see him there, serving tea, but he smiled and served each cup with pride. Slowly, his hard work began to pay off. His tea stall became popular. He saved every rupee and expanded into a small snack corner. Over the next few years, Arjun opened a new grocery store, bigger and better than before. He didn't just rebuild his business. He also helped others who had lost their shops in the fire. He believed that true success is not just about rising alone, but about lifting others too. Years later, when asked how he came back from such a big loss, Arjun said, "I was reduced to ashes, but I turned that pain into ambition. That's how I rose again." No matter how hard life falls apart, you can always rebuild. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of a new, stronger you. Quote, "Sometimes life burns everything to the ground, not to destroy you, but to give you the chance to rise again, stronger than ever." 2. The fall that built me Ria was a bright student with big dreams. She wanted to become an engineer and make her parents proud. She studied day and night for her entrance exams. Everyone believed she would get a top rank. But when the results came, Ria was shocked. She had failed. Her friends moved ahead, but she was left behind. People began to whisper, her relatives started comparing, and her confidence slowly broke. She stopped smiling. She felt like a failure. One evening, sitting on the terrace, she asked herself, "Is this the end of my story?" And the answer came from within. "No, this is just the beginning." Ria took a break, breathed deeply, and decided to try again. Not for others, but for herself. She changed her study methods, took better care of her health, and started believing in her abilities again. She didn't care about what others said anymore. All she focused on was improving herself, step by step, day by day. The next year, she gave the exam again, and this time, she passed with flying colors. But that's not all. Because of her journey, she later became a motivational speaker, helping thousands of students who felt lost like she once did. Ria often says, failing that year was the best thing that ever happened to me. That fall built me. Sometimes failure is not the end. It is the foundation that builds your strength, wisdom, and success. Quote, your greatest fall may be preparing you for your greatest rise. 3. Broken, not defeated. Ramesh was a young athlete with a dream to win a gold medal for his country in running. He trained every single day, rain or shine. He was fast, strong, and full of hope. One day during a state-level race, Ramesh was leading when he slipped and fell badly. His leg was badly injured. The doctors said he might never run again. His world collapsed. Months passed in pain and frustration. He couldn't walk without support. People stopped talking about him. Even some friends said, he was good, but it's over now. Ramesh felt broken. His body hurt, and his dreams felt distant. But deep inside, he whispered, I may be broken, but I'm not defeated. Instead of giving up, he started slow. He learned to walk again, then jog, then run. Every step was painful, but his willpower was stronger than the pain. A year later, Ramesh entered a local marathon, not to win, but to finish. He came in third. The next year, he ran again, and this time, he won. Not just the race, but the respect of everyone who once doubted him. He later said in a speech, my injury broke my body, but not my spirit. That's what truly matters. You may be broken by life, but if you refuse to give up, you are never truly defeated. Quote, it's not the fall that defines you, but the strength to rise again. 4. Starting at zero. Meena had a happy life. She had a good job, a nice home, and a small family. But then everything changed. The company she worked for shut down, her savings slowly disappeared, and her husband left during the tough times. She found herself alone, with no money, no job, and no one to depend on. For weeks, Meena cried silently. She had no idea how to begin again. But one day she looked in the mirror and said, I may have nothing right now, but I still have me. And that's enough to start with. With only a few rupees in hand, she started cooking and selling homemade food in her neighborhood. At first, she only had 2 customers, but her food was delicious, and word spread quickly. Within months, her small tiffin service turned into a catering business. She hired 2 helpers, rented a kitchen, and worked day and night. Slowly, she became known in the city for her honest service and tasty meals. Years later, Meena owned a restaurant and helped other women who wanted to start their own businesses. Whenever someone asked her how she did it, she smiled and said, I didn't restart my life. I started it at zero. And sometimes zero is the best place to begin. Even when you lose everything, you can still build something beautiful if you believe in yourself. Quote, you don't need to have it all to begin. You just need to begin. 5. The rise beyond ruin. Vikram was a successful businessman with everything he ever wanted: wealth, fame, and comfort. He owned a big company, traveled the world, and lived in a luxurious house. People admired his lifestyle and called him lucky. But life had other plans. A sudden financial scam by a close partner ruined his company. In a few months, he lost everything: his business, money, and even the trust of the people around him. His house was sold to pay debts. His name was in the news and his friends disappeared. Vikram was ruined, not just financially, but emotionally. He had built his empire with hard work, and now all that remained were broken pieces. But Vikram wasn't ready to be destroyed. Instead of hiding in shame, he decided to accept his mistakes and start again. He began mentoring young entrepreneurs, sharing his story openly to help others avoid the same mistakes. People slowly started seeing him not as a failure, but as a fighter. With time, he launched a small startup focused on ethical business. It grew slowly but honestly. Within a few years, Vikram built a new business, stronger, simpler, and more respected than before. One day, a reporter asked him how he survived such a fall. He replied, "The ruins of my past became the foundation for my rise. I didn't just rise back, I rose beyond the ruin." Even when everything is lost, your experience and courage can help you rebuild a better future. Quote, "What ruins you today can raise you tomorrow if you choose to rise." 6. From rock bottom to sky high, Sana was once a top student with big dreams of becoming a pilot. Her parents supported her, and she studied hard. But just before her final exams, her father fell seriously ill. The family's money went into hospital bills, and Sana had to leave her studies and take up small jobs to support the family. Her dream of flying seemed to disappear. She worked as a receptionist by day and cleaned offices at night. Many people around her said, "Be practical. Dreams don't feed you." But deep in her heart, Sana still held on to one belief: one day I will fly. She started saving every little bit of money. It took her 5 years just to collect enough to apply for a pilot training course. She studied while working, often sleeping only 4 hours a night. There were many times she felt like giving up, but she didn't. After years of struggle, she finally earned her pilot's license. Today, Sana flies planes across the country. Every time she's in the sky, she looks down and remembers the girl who once cleaned floors with dreams in her eyes. In a school speech, she once said, "I didn't just rise from rock bottom, I flew from it." Even when life pushes you to the lowest point, your dreams can lift you higher if you keep going. Quote, "Rock bottom is not the end. It's the ground you rise from." 7. Shattered, then stronger. Nikhil was a quiet, hard-working boy who loved painting. Art was his world, but his parents wanted him to become an engineer. To please them, he gave up painting and joined a college he didn't enjoy. He tried to adjust, but nothing felt right. He failed exams, lost confidence, and soon began to feel broken from inside. One day after getting his third back paper, he sat alone in his room and cried. "I'm failing at something I never even wanted," he whispered. In that moment of pain, he took out an old paintbrush and began to draw. It felt like breathing again. That night changed everything. Nikhil decided to follow his passion. He dropped out of engineering and joined an art school, facing criticism and anger from many. But he stood strong. He worked day and night on his skills. Slowly, his art began to speak for itself. A few years later, his paintings were displayed in galleries, and one of his pieces was even bought by an international collector. People who once laughed at him now called him brave. Nikhil often says, "Yes, I was shattered, but those broken pieces came together to build a stronger me." Sometimes breaking away from the wrong path is what leads you to the right one. Pain can shape you into a stronger version of yourself. Quote, "Being broken doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're ready to rebuild, stronger than before." 8. Lost everything, gained myself. Aman was living the life many dream of. A well-paying job in a big city, expensive gadgets, branded clothes, and weekend parties. On the outside, he looked successful, but deep inside, he felt empty. He didn't know who he really was. One day his company faced huge losses, and he was suddenly laid off. In a few months, his savings ran out. He had to move back to his small hometown, away from the fast life and fake smiles. For the first time in years, Aman had nothing. No job, no status, no plans. At first he felt ashamed, but slowly he started to notice things he had forgotten. The joy of simple living, the love of his family, and the peace of silence. He began to write, something he had always loved as a child. His poems and short stories reflected his pain, his truth, and his healing. He shared them online, and people began to connect with his words. Within a year, he became a well-known writer. Not only was he earning again, but this time from something he truly loved. Amin often says, "I lost everything that wasn't really mine, and in doing so, I found who I truly am." Losing material things is painful, but sometimes it helps you find what truly matters, yourself. Quote, "Sometimes you must lose the world to discover your soul." 9. The climb back up. Kabir was a top employee in a big company. He had a great salary, respect, and a clear path to promotion. But due to a wrong decision in a big project, the company lost money, and Kabir was blamed. He lost his job and his reputation. He applied to many places, but no one wanted to hire someone with failure on his record. Friends stopped calling, and his confidence faded. Months passed, and Kabir reached his lowest point, alone, jobless, and filled with self-doubt. But one morning, while watching a group of ants climbing up a wall, he noticed how they never stopped. Every time they fell, they got back up and tried again. That moment changed his mindset. Kabir decided to start from the bottom again. He took a small job in a startup as a junior employee. He worked hard, learned new skills, stayed humble, and slowly earned back his respect. After a few years, he opened his own company, focused on helping startups avoid the mistakes he once made. His story inspired others, and his honesty became his strength. Kabir once said in a seminar, "I fell hard, but I climbed back up. Not to the same place, but to a better one." Falling is not failure. Staying down is. True strength is shown in the climb back up. Quote, "Success is not how high you've gone, but how strong you bounce back after the fall." 10. Reborn from the wreckage. Sanjay was a talented architect with a promising career. He was working on his dream project, a beautiful community center. But one day a terrible earthquake struck his city. The building under construction collapsed, and Sanjay lost not only his work, but also his faith. His designs were destroyed, his clients left, and he faced harsh criticism. People said he should quit. Sanjay felt broken, like all his hard work had turned to dust. But after weeks of despair, he visited the rubble of the collapsed site. He looked around at the destruction and thought, "If I can build once, I can build again. This wreckage is not the end." Sanjay began working with relief organizations, using his skills to help rebuild homes for earthquake victims. Through this, he found new purpose. His work gained attention worldwide, and soon he was invited to design safer, stronger buildings that could resist future disasters. From the wreckage of his failure, Sanjay was reborn, a stronger architect with a heart full of hope and determination. He said in an interview, "Sometimes life destroys what we love to give us the chance to rebuild something better. When life destroys your dreams, don't give up. Use the wreckage to build a stronger future. Quote, "From the ruins of loss, we rise again, reborn, renewed, and ready." Thank you for watching this story of strength and resilience. Remember, life may knock you down, but it can never keep you there unless you let it. Every fall is a chance to rise stronger, wiser, and braver than before. If this story touched your heart or gave you hope, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real and inspiring stories. And always remember, your story isn't over. Keep going. Your rise is coming.